Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Here is a pine tree, probably a loblolly, and it's fallen across two terraces. That first terrace is about 6 feet high. This terrace right here is about 4 feet high. But what we're after is this branch right here, because there's no bark on it. It looks highly degraded. So let me see if I can break it off. And it broke right here where some bumblebees had bored holes in it. Let's go ahead and cut the base off, and we know that it'll be loaded with fatwood, and we'll just use that for our bearing block. Here's the other end of the original break where those bumblebees have been boring. Got a nice chamber right down the center of that limb. And then the end that we sawed off for a bearing block, it is rich with fatwood. And here's that tulip poplar. The thing is massive. And I don't really want this branch. Let's get this branch right here. It's more like what I had in mind. And it's got that good bark on that. Let's head back to the fire table. All right, here's the tulip poplar. We're going to get the bark off of that for the tinder bundle. Here is our piece of pine. And I think I'm going to get all the way up in here. Maybe cut this piece off here for the spindle. But we'll work on that in a second. And here is our bearing block and baton stock. Let's go ahead and start with it. I made 2 divots. This one where the fatwood is the richest, but it's actually going to be hard to use the bearing block. And this one where there's not as much fatwood, but it'll be easier to use. Because if I can have this spindle, say this is the spindle, if I can have it in the center of my hand, it's going to be easy for me to bear down on it. Whereas on this side, my hand is going to be all over to one side. And so it'll be a lot harder. Good old tulip poplar bark makes the best tinder bundles. Break it over your finger. Peel off that outer bark and save it because it'll burn. And just continue sort of breaking it over your finger and peeling back on that outer bark. And that is some damp inner bark, but I think we can make it work. Now we'll put this outer bark right in on our fire lay. Now it looks disorganized, but that's going to burn nicely because our inner bark tinder bundle burns very hot and for a long time. rough it up, tear it up, break it down. Just spend about 5 minutes with it. It'll break down. This isn't the best bark I've ever used. Some bark just comes right off in big strips, and the inner and the outer separates very well. This one's thicker and harder, but it'll break down. Even though it's a little bit damp, I think it's going to catch easily, and like I say, burn very hot. Let's start working on the spindle now. This is more crooked than I was expecting. Let's cut a different piece. I think this is the piece we need to use right here. Let's cut that off. I think that'll work. All that fatwood in there concerns me. Usually when your wood has a lot of fatwood in it, you just have to spend more time bowing. Whereas usually you could do like 60 strokes, you might need to do 100 strokes or more when there's a lot of fatwood in it. I like to take it to square first before I knock those corners off and take it to round. All right, I have a mostly straight cylinder here, except for up here. I'm going to get that out when I turn this into the bearing block end. Come down 1.5 inches, bring it to a point, make sure that point is on center, turn it 90 degrees, make sure the point is still on center. On this hot end, we're going to come down 1/4 inch, do facets all the way around, come up 1/8 inch, facets all the way around, come up 1/16 inch, facets all the way around. And it looks like this. Now for the fireboard. I see a little crack right there. Let's go for this thicker one. We are ready to give it a try. Alright, I am anxious to try this out. And my tulip poplar tinder bundle is very much drier than when we started, so good. Let's do a burn in and see how it's going to act. That's too tight. Let's give it a 1/2 inch more length right there. And here's our Fatwood bearing block that we made. I can already see that the dust is fluffy, which is typical for pine. And the tip looks good. Cut a notch, be right back. All right. Now the problem with fluffy dust is that it doesn't want to drop down in that notch. So if we have to stop and take our knife and push it on down in that notch, we're going to do whatever we have to do. I want to try all new dust. Still smoking. Well, good. Now all we got to do is get it to go to flames, right? That's all. Alright y'all, do me a favor, before you leave my channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and in that drop down list, select all, and do give the video a like. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Now we can watch it burn. I was wondering if it was going to work out there for a minute. What was that, 5 tries? 4 tries? We got it to go though. We'll catch you on the next one.